Max Verstappen has reportedly been stunned by a discovery in Red Bull's new RB22, the team's first car fully powered by the RBPT Ford engine. Insiders suggest the issue could affect both performance and drivability, creating questions about reliability before the 2026 season even begins. Red Bull is entering its boldest transformation yet, becoming a full-engine manufacturer with Ford, revamping its suspension, integrating rookie Isaac Hadjar, and operating under completely new 2026 regulations. A single flaw now could disrupt championship plans, driver confidence, and the team's hard-earned dominance. While Red Bull has kept full technical details private, Verstappen's reaction indicates the problem might involve hybrid energy delivery, torque anomalies, or how the engine interacts with the chassis, something only a driver of his caliber could detect. The paddock is already buzzing, sensing a potential game-changer. Later in the video, we'll dive into exactly what Verstappen discovered, why it's such a serious concern, and how it could redefine the 2026 season. What you'll see will go beyond initial impressions and expose consequences that the media hasn't fully understood yet. Red Bull's 2026 preseason testing has reportedly taken a dramatic turn after Max Verstappen uncovered a serious issue in the RB22. Sources suggest the problem could involve the new RBPT Ford power unit, potentially affecting hybrid energy delivery, torque consistency, or integration with the chassis. The discovery has forced Red Bull to shift focus from pure performance optimization to meticulous diagnostics, scrutinizing telemetry and lap data for subtle signs of irregularities. Every test session now carries heightened stakes, as engineers work to understand whether this is an isolated anomaly or a deeper systemic issue. At the core of the concern is the RB22's hybrid power system, which is said to be showing inconsistencies in corner exit power and energy recovery. Verstappen reportedly noticed slight but significant deviations that could influence tire wear, acceleration, and long-run race pace. Engineers are conducting simulations and on-track tests to identify whether these anomalies are related to software calibration, battery management, or hardware tolerances. Even minor deviations in a system this complex could have far-reaching consequences over a full race distance. Suspension and chassis interaction may also play a role in Verstappen's discovery. Early reports indicate that under certain conditions, the car's balance becomes unusually sensitive, potentially amplifying any engine or hybrid irregularities. Red Bull engineers are reportedly analyzing how the power unit's behavior interacts with suspension dynamics, tire response, and aerodynamic forces to pinpoint the exact cause. This level of scrutiny emphasizes the high stakes of preseason testing, where even small technical flaws can have outsized impacts on competitive performance. Strategically, the team has had to pivot from traditional preseason objectives. Rather than focusing primarily on aerodynamic optimization, suspension setup, or tire degradation analysis, engineers are dedicating significant resources to troubleshooting and mitigation. Each track session is now dual-purpose, extracting performance data while simultaneously diagnosing potential reliability or drivability issues. This defensive approach demonstrates how a single discovery from a top-tier driver can reshape the priorities and workflow of an elite F1 team. The psychological impact on Verstappen and the Red Bull engineering team is significant. As the driver who first detected the issue, Verstappen must provide highly accurate feedback while continuing to push the car to extract meaningful performance data. Engineers, under immense pressure, must interpret his observations quickly and implement potential solutions without creating additional complications. This scenario underscores the critical role of the driver in modern Formula One, not just as a competitor but also as a key technical collaborator whose input can define preseason development. Rival teams are reportedly reacting to the discovery with heightened attention. Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are closely monitoring Red Bull's testing, analyzing lap times and telemetry to detect any signs of vulnerability. Even partial or indirect knowledge of Verstappen's discovery can influence their own preseason strategies, from simulations to track testing priorities. The ripple effect demonstrates how one driver's insight can extend across the entire paddock, making preseason a complex web of observation, anticipation, and adaptation. Finally, the long-term implications of Verstappen's discovery could be profound. Engineers must ensure that every component, energy map, and system interaction is fully validated to avoid performance degradation or reliability issues during the season. Failure to address the problem could impact early season results, driver confidence, and Red Bull's overall championship strategy. Verstappen's early observations have transformed preseason testing into a high-pressure environment where every engineering decision, track session, and analysis carries amplified consequences for the 2026 season. The first partial revelation emerged as Verstappen began pushing the RB22 harder during preseason tests, uncovering inconsistencies in power delivery that had previously gone unnoticed. Engineers immediately focused on analyzing telemetry to determine whether these anomalies were isolated or indicative of a more systemic problem. Even minor deviations in hybrid energy deployment or torque delivery were treated with urgency, given Red Bull's high stakes for reliability and race performance. Verstappen's ability to detect these subtle changes highlights his unique sensitivity as a driver and the significance of his feedback in preseason testing. Rival teams quickly picked up on unusual trends in Red Bull's testing data. Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren reportedly monitored lap times, sector splits, and engine behavior, trying to infer whether Red Bull's new RB22 might be vulnerable. While they could not access the car's internal telemetry, visible fluctuations in performance raised questions about the stability of Red Bull's 2026 package. Even indirect observations prompted adjustments in competitor simulations and strategy planning, underscoring the immediate impact of Verstappen's discovery on the broader paddock. The complexity of the RB22's hybrid power system has intensified the problem. Sources suggest that the irregularities may involve multiple interconnected elements, including battery management, energy recovery, and torque distribution. Engineers are conducting extensive simulations to understand how these factors interact with the chassis and suspension, ensuring that the anomaly does not compromise lap consistency or reliability. Each test session is now scrutinized for any hint of systemic flaws, as even minor inconsistencies can cascade into significant performance issues during races. Red Bull's strategic priorities have shifted significantly in response. Preseason testing, which would normally focus on aerodynamic optimization and tire management, now includes an intense emphasis on problem solving. Engineers are evaluating potential causes, considering software, hardware, and integration issues, and determining whether short-term fixes or longer-term development adjustments are required. This defensive, investigative approach highlights how a single driver's insight can fundamentally change a team's preseason agenda. The psychological impact on Verstappen and the team is considerable. As the first person to notice the anomaly, Verstappen must provide precise and actionable feedback while continuing to drive at the limits of the RB22's capabilities. Engineers, in turn, rely on his observations to guide rapid interventions, creating a high-pressure environment where both speed and accuracy are essential. This scenario demonstrates the increasingly critical role of drivers in modern Formula One as integral technical collaborators, whose insights directly influence preseason development decisions. The ripple effect extends beyond Red Bull. Rival teams, having observed anomalies in lap consistency and energy deployment, are reportedly adjusting simulations, preseason strategies, and testing approaches in anticipation of potential weaknesses. Verstappen's discovery has created an early-season strategic tension, forcing competitors to reassess assumptions about Red Bull's pace and stability. What began as routine testing has evolved into a high-stakes battle of observation, analysis, and adaptation across the paddock. Finally, the implications of the discovery are significant for Red Bull's 2026 campaign. Resolving the issue is critical not only for early season performance but also for driver confidence, team morale, and long-term reliability. Engineers must validate every component, energy map, and integration point to ensure the RB22 can perform consistently under race conditions. Verstappen's early detection has transformed preseason into a high-pressure investigative arena where every test, decision, and data point carries consequences that could define the team's championship trajectory. The key twist emerging from Verstappen's discovery is that the issue may not be isolated. It could potentially affect the entire RB22 program and Red Bull's 2026 campaign. Sources suggest that the irregularity might impact hybrid energy management, torque delivery, or integration between the engine and chassis, creating a ripple effect on both reliability and performance. Engineers are now under immense pressure to determine whether this is a minor calibration problem or a systemic flaw that could compromise race results from the first Grand Prix onwards. Central to the twist is the hybrid system's behavior under high load. Verstappen reportedly observed inconsistencies in corner exit acceleration and battery recharge rates, which could compromise qualifying and race consistency. Red Bull engineers are conducting multiple simulations to explore how these issues manifest across different circuits, track temperatures, and tire compounds. The challenge is compounded by the RBPT Ford engine's new architecture, which leaves little margin for error when combining energy recovery with power unit deployment under race conditions. The FIA adds another layer of complexity. While no regulations have been officially breached, the RB22's integration of the hybrid system with a new engine could invite scrutiny if performance characteristics appear borderline. Any corrective adjustments may be closely examined by officials and could even trigger protests from rival teams. Red Bull must carefully navigate the fine line between maximizing performance and ensuring full compliance, making pre-season engineering decisions extremely consequential. Strategically, the discovery has reshaped Red Bull's pre-season priorities. Sessions that were intended for aerodynamic fine-tuning, suspension testing, and tire management are now dominated by diagnostics and problem-solving. Every lap, wind tunnel test, and CFD simulation is now assessed for performance potential while also evaluating reliability risk. This defensive posture underscores how a single technical discovery from a driver like Verstappen can redefine the preseason workflow and set the stage for early season planning. Psychologically, the revelation places significant pressure on both Verstappen and the Red Bull engineering team. As the driver who detected the problem, Verstappen must provide highly detailed feedback while continuing to push the car to generate usable data. Engineers rely on his observations to implement corrective measures without introducing new complications. This dynamic highlights the critical role of drivers as technical collaborators in modern Formula One, where their insight can directly influence both development strategy and competitive outcomes. The ripple effects have reached the broader paddock. Rival teams such as Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are reportedly recalibrating simulations, adjusting testing schedules, and revising early season strategies in response to Red Bull's potential vulnerability. Even indirect observation of the RB22's anomalies is enough to influence competitor planning and preparation. Verstappen's discovery has transformed preseason testing into a high-stakes chess game, where observation, interpretation, and rapid adaptation are just as critical as raw speed. Finally, the long-term implications for Red Bull are profound. Engineers must ensure that every component, energy map, and system interaction is validated to avoid performance degradation or reliability issues during races. Failure to resolve the problem could compromise early season results, driver confidence, and the team's championship trajectory. Verstappen's early detection has turned preseason into a high-pressure crucible, where every engineering decision and test lap carries amplified consequences for the 2026 season.